Hi there, welcome. Welcome to Homekeepers. How are you today, my friend? I just hope things are really going great for you and that you'll stick with us for the next few minutes. Is this the first time you've seen this program called Homekeepers? And hopefully the name explains it. We like to deal with anything that can make your home better, and that's a lot of different subjects. And so if this is your first time, welcome, welcome. And then we have thousands of our regular viewers, and you certainly hold a rich, rich place in our hearts. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We've got a good show for you today. I have a return guest, Margaret Register, who is a missionary and an author and has had an amazing life. When she was on the last time, she talked about a book she had just written called No Place for Plastic Saints, and described her journey on the mission field. And I wish more people would read those kinds of books and understand what so many of our missionaries live every single day that they're out there, and the things that we are so used to here, and probably very seldom stop to thank God for the things we have, the conveniences. She wrote all about that, but also this ministry included a wonderful television program for children, and it's called Lugar Secreto, which means a secret place, and that's about the extent of the Spanish I know right there. But when you think of how it impacted a nation, and she has chronicled it in this book, A Place for People, Puppets, and Cockroach Soup. Maybe she'll tell us how they came up with the cockroach soup, because I live in Florida and there's nothing at all desirable about cockroaches, especially to put them in your cooking. I do just want to tell you, this story is, I went through the book and it's just so interesting how God takes some people, just ordinary like me and like the registers and all, and started with nothing, with borrowed puppets and sets that would hardly stand up at all, and see what God has done with it. It just really will warm your heart. So if you haven't met Margaret, I'm anxious for you to meet her. And I'm going to join Stephanie. We're going to make, you've heard of pineapple upside down cake? This is an apricot upside down cake. And we haven't tasted it yet, but it's sure smelling good. Before I join her though, I have a book I'm going to offer you at no cost, but I really encourage you to send an offering for it, okay? Oh, some of you are going to run to your post office right now, because it's called Finding Your $1 Million Mate. And we get requests here from gals who would like to be married, and to pray for them, and I do. Any request I get like that. But this is a book that you'll want to have. Maybe you have a single son or daughter in your household, and so I do hope you can send an offering to Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758, and it would help us stay on the air. Our 800 number knows nothing about this, so it won't help you to call them. But take note of that, and if you'll send your request, we will send it out to you. And I've joined Stephanie here.
Hi there.
How are you doing, girl?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
And we're going to try to flip one. I've already designated her to flip it.
Sure.
But let's make this thing.
Okay, you have 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and you have a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and you're going to put the butter in, and then you're going to sprinkle the cinnamon.
And it takes great talent to do this.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We didn't spray it, but
Oh.
so that one won't flip as nicely.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Okay.
Spray it before.
Yeah. Stephanie
got
has
ahead of
learned you
ourselves.
spray everything.
Yeah.
All right. You can start putting your part together. I
Okay.
give her the hard part.
Yeah, I'm going to do a 1/4 cup of shortening and 3/4 cups of sugar.
But this is really from scratch, isn't it?
Yes.
A lot of the
What I love
recipes we
about
have,
it.
I'm going to use my fingers for this.
Yes.
Just spreading this on top. A lot of the recipes we use, and a lot of people do use, they use a cake mix.
Oh,
And,
sure.
and why not?
Sure, it's there for you.
Then all the hard
This is
work
a
for
simple
you.
one though, so no problem. So we're getting the shortening and the sugar all mixed up together.
Okay,
And then
now-
you're going to take the apricot halves out and put them cut side down and just lay them across the bottom.
Okay.
And I'm going to put an egg in here.
I'm going to get rid of some of this juice.
No shells.
Because when you flip it, you want these right side up.
Mm-hmm. And then I have 3/4 cups of flour. I have 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to mix in here along with a 1/2 cup of milk.
Yeah, it's just like I learned how to bake in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You cream the
Exactly.
stuff together,
Yep.
then wet and dry ingredients.
Yep. We're going to do 1/2 and 1/2 and then 1/2 and 1/2 just to make sure we get it all mixed up nicely here.
Do you ever have a white flesh peach?
I've never had one, no.
Oh,
It sounds
you'll
really
never
good.
eat another peach. Yesterday I was fixing one in the kitchen, washing it. Jenny came in, and I said, "Have you ever tasted one of these?" And she said, "No." Oh my!
She loved it?
Yeah, nothing like it.
Then we'll just do the
Oh.
other 1/2 of the flour, baking soda, salt, and
We did tell them that was cinnamon and brown sugar we put on the bottom there, didn't we?
cinnamon and brown sugar, and then the apricots. You can use
It's out of the way.
fresh apricots too.
Yeah, I
Canned ones
think that you'd really, you really want them ripe though if you do
Oh,
it.
yeah,
I
very
thought this would be a lot easier, and I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to, you know, fresh. But for this,
Okay, so you get this all mixed up, and then we're just going to layer it over the top. And it's a thick batter, so just take your time. You're going to want to take your time and just mix it right over the top. Get this cleaned off.
oh, you need the.
Oh, you
You
took
need
my,
this. I took,
my spatula.
and I will get this one out. But I want Stephanie to flip it because that's
Just
not my
because.
gift. Now this
Okay, if you
is
wanna-
supposed to set for 10 minutes, and ours actually did, but we wanted to kind of keep it warm.
If you want to
I
spread that,
will.
I will flip.
All
See what
right.
happens. And then we have walnuts to put on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. You just gotta give it a second. It's got suction.
It's coming.
Well, and then it was sprayed. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't either, but you get the idea. You
Yes.
put these in.
Yes. Oh,
I don't think we'll have any problem eating it,
no.
you know?
I really sprayed this too.
Yeah, that's,
I think you're just picking recipes that need to be flipped on purpose at this point.
well, we'll do that a little better later, but I want to taste it. What I was going to say is probably they understand we do not have a test kitchen.
This is it right here. We're
Yeah,
testing.
we're testing it. Oh, it's beautiful though.
Oh, here, I'll put
Yeah, put
over
one
here
in
for
there
you.
and we'll try
There
it.
you go.
All right. And if it came out right, you could actually cut it.
That, or don't flip it and just cut it in the pan and
Yeah, I don't. Look at some of that apricot. Here, help yourself. Trust me.
it
The
tastes
fact
better than it
that
looks.
it didn't flip perfectly is no problem.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
That's very
if
good.
you want this, and I think you do, tell us whether or not yours flips perfectly. But the information's coming up on your screen. And following that information, you're going to meet somebody you'll fall in love with instantly, and his name is Bobo.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, please send your request along with a gift of $5 or more to Homekeepers, P.O. Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758.
Why? I'm so glad you could come today to the secret place. We're gonna do all kinds of fun things today and learn a lot, I hope. Oh dear. Hi, Bobo. Bobo. Well, what's the matter? Oh. Bobo.
Oh, Christy.
What?
I'm hurt terrible bad.
Oh, well, tell me what's the
I'm hurt
matter.
all inside. Christy, my
Your-
heart hurts.
Your heart hurts. You sure you don't have just a tummy ache?
No, I got a heartache.
Well, what's the matter?
I'm ugly.
No.
I'm short.
Aw.
I'm fat. I'm slow.
Bobo? Who's been telling you that?
I love it. And that little puppet captivated a country.
Well, more than one country.
Yeah.
More than one country.
I'm thinking of Guatemala,
Yeah.
and you land, you know, in the airport, and there are, what, 6,000 people out there?
Yes, and when our plane was coming in, some people looked out the window and they saw a crowd of people. And they were all commenting in Spanish, you know, because we had no idea that anybody would come to the airport. And somebody said, what are all those people doing there? There must be a celebrity coming in.
And there was.
There was, but we didn't know it would be us, you know. So we got inside the terminal, and government officials are running around looking for something, for somebody. And they walked up and down the line, and they would look at each person and say, no, no, not him, not him. And then finally, I overheard some of them talking, and one of them said, no vino, Bobo no vino. And he didn't come, Bobo didn't come. So I walked over there and I said, are you talking about the puppet, Bobo? And they said, yes, he was supposed to be on this flight and he didn't come. And I said, yes, he did. He's right over there in that carry-on that my husband has. And the man said, take him out and put him on. There are thousands of children waiting to welcome Bobo. And then we listened and we could hear them out in the open area of the airport chanting, Bobo, Bobo. And it was just an incredible story.
Well, also, Bobo was not a hand puppet, and so he's kind of cut off.
Exactly.
So the government officials walked in front of your husband, who was holding Bobo up, so that he looked like he was
They became
complete.
his bodyguards, and that was just an idea God gave us on the spur of the moment, Arthelene.
And then meetings in a stadium.
We went to a stadium that Friday to hold the rally, and we were going to have one rally, and the stadium would seat 6,000 kids. And I thought, you know, if we have 100 kids, it will be good.
Yeah.
But that stadium filled up, and I have pictures of it in the book. There were 6,000 children, and before we could finish that show, Ana Agüero, who had invited us to go down, she came backstage. She was wringing her hands, and she said, they won't all fit. There are more people down the sidewalk, down to the street. Can we do 2 shows? And we said, sure. So we started that second show. The stadium was full again, 6,000 more kids. And she came to us and said, they're still not all in here. We've got to do 3 shows. And we did. So there were 18,000 children.
18,000 kids. Thank God for Christian television.
Yeah.
Now, you did a lot of work right in this studio, didn't
This
you?
very room. This very room. And I tell in the book how we all began. And I have a picture of you
Yeah,
in there
there-
when you were very young, and we were all very
Yeah,
young.
we were. But the story here is just how great God is and how he uses people who don't know what they're doing.
That's right.
And how it evolves. And the little hostess you saw there on the program is Margaret and Joe's daughter. And no one knew. She is one of the most talented people you'd ever want to meet. And you were her mother. Did you even know how talented she was?
No, we did not. And we would never have chosen her to be hostess for the show. But right here at the channel, and I tell how Channel 22 started, and Bob DeAndre asked Paul Garber to come over and help with build the facility and all that. And Paul's the one that called Joe into the little trailer here on the grounds and said, I want you to do a children's show. And Joe said, we can do a children's show. And Paul said, I want Christy, your daughter, to be hostess. And Joe said, Christy can't do that. She's only 15. But Paul said, try it. Just do one. And so we did one pilot show. And it was terrible, Arthelene. Bobo forgot to open his mouth half the time because Joe had never done a puppet before. But then Paul said, do another one. And later, many years later, we said, Paul, why on earth did you say that that was good to do more? And he said, because you actually did it. Most people want to do something, they have a dream, but they don't follow through. And you know, Arthelene, through the years, our theme became, do what you can with what you've got and do it now. That's a saying by George Washington Carver. And Joe just took that to heart. Do what you can with what you've got and do it now.
I think now is the operative word.
Because otherwise you'll wait and wait and wait for optimum conditions and all the resources that you need, and you'll never get started.
Now this is called an Angel Award from Religion in Media. How many of these do you have?
Oh, we won one every year. Every year. I don't know even how many now, because since we've retired, so they're dispersed among the many members of the crew. But we have many of them.
Yeah, this one's mine. I got 3, but you had, what, 20 or more?
A number. I don't remember how many.
Now this, your first book, No Place for Plastic Saints, that is the story of your life as a missionary. And this one is the story of, it's still missionary, but it's of the television ministry.
Yes, it is. And because while we lived overseas, we got started in television. And Joe had that dream to produce television shows that would reach all of Latin America. Well, then we came home. We didn't have any resources. We didn't know how to do it. And that is precisely when God spoke to Bob DeAndre. And how God puts people together and circumstances together. It's just incredible.
Well, what's the chance that a puppet, I mean, we've got great puppets here in the United States and all, but I'm not sure that any one of them has just captured a nation where several thousand people go to the airport to see it. And this was borrowed, wasn't it?
Yes, he was borrowed from Uncle Shelby down First Assembly on Main Street in Lakeland. And we still have Bobo after all of these years. But we just borrowed him to see if we could do it. And John Taylor was instrumental because Joe didn't know how to operate a puppet. And John Taylor came walking through the room and showed Joe puppeteering techniques.
Why do you think that Bobo captured their attention so much?
Well, Arthelene, I think with Christy and Bobo, there's chemistry. You can see that on the video. There's chemistry there. And they look right into the viewer's eyes. And every theme of our program was something that's relevant. For example, there, Bobo's crying. He's short, he's fat, he's ugly. Well, we can all identify with that. We all have our shortcomings and the things that we...
Was that scripted? Because I know that they pretty much could improvise.
When we first started out, I scripted it for them. And it was so stilted, and they could do so much better. So after that, for all the many years, I would give them the theme, and I'd say, you have 3 minutes to develop this. And to sit there and watch their chemistry happen, it was just fascinating.
Which was really your husband and daughter, right?
Yes, yes.
We're talking about the book, A Place for People, Puppets, and Cockroach Soup. And is this available on Amazon?
It is, and it's available in the ebook. You can get it for a Kindle or an ebook too. Let me tell you where the cockroach soup came from.
Yes, please.
Well, Bobo likes to cook, and I think he would have done well with your upset.
Could you bring him over sometime if he's not in complete retirement?
And so he had an old battered pot and a wooden spoon, and he would be stirring, and he would be singing while he was cooking. And he would sing La Cucaracha, La Cucaracha, and that means cockroach. So then it dawned on him to say, La Cucaracha, I've put some cucarachas in my sopa, you know. And of course it all started in Spanish. That's where we did it first, was in Spanish.
What kind of feedback did you get? Because I'm sure that you kept salvation and just the Word of God and all in front of the kids all the time and gave it to such an entertaining way. But what kind of feedback did you get?
It's incredible stories from country after country after country, because this was aired for free because there was nothing like it. And practically every country in Latin America. And right now it's on satellite in 14 different satellites. Yeah, it still is. And so one of my favorite stories is the one about the Blue Bible. And this little boy came home from school, and his dad said, we have a new TV, but you can't operate it because I'm the only one that knows how to do the remote control. But then they all went to take their siesta. Well, little Oscar crept down the stairs and got the remote and turned it on, and when he did, Lugar Secreto was on. And Judy Bartell Grainer was telling the Bible story. And she just looked right at him and told him that story, and it touched his heart. Well, as soon as the show was over, he turned the TV off and put the remote back and went back upstairs. For 10 years, he would sneak to the TV during siesta and watch the program. And his little heart was transformed. And we didn't realize, but we were doing systematic Bible teaching because we would do the life of Joseph, the life of Moses, the Beatitudes, Bible heroes. And he was learning all of that. So one day, when he was now a teenager, his mom said, we're going to go to church Sunday. And he said, well, we usually go to Mass. And she said, we're going to go to an evangelical church, but don't tell your father. And he was so shocked. And they walked in this little church, and when the people began to sing, Oscar knew the songs. And he started singing along, and his mom is like, how do you know these songs? And he just smiled because they did not know that he was watching.
Yeah.
And when the pastor then got up to preach, the pastor had a black book that he said, this is the Bible, and he read some scripture, and Oscar's heart just fell. He knew that was not right, because on the TV show, Judy would hold her Bible, and it was blue.
Oh.
And every show she would say, now, if it's in the Bible, you believe it. If it's not in the Bible, don't you believe it? And see, that gets rid of all kinds of superstitions and false teaching. If it's in the Bible, you believe. Well, poor little Oscar, he thought that pastor must not have the right Bible. So as soon as church was over, he went up and talked to him, and the pastor was so sweet. He said, son, the tapa, the cover, can be many colors, but it is God's Word.
How many
inside.
years did you do this?
Well, we were missionaries 38 years. So we had been missionaries for 10 years when we started, so it'd be 28 years.
Yeah, we do have a website up for you, and you can go there and obtain the book and all, and she gives all the profits these back to missions work. You know, when you're working with puppets, I know that dogs become family members. Do these are they a little real to you?
They are real. They are real. And little Tony that Christy operates, he is just real. He is real. And I remember one of the first ways we knew that puppets were real and had their own personality. Our son Tim had a little puppet that did music, and we called him Beethoven. And so Tim had thrown Beethoven on the chest of drawers there on the dresser, and later on opened a drawer, and then little Beethoven's arm fell down inside the drawer, and Tim was in a hurry, and he slammed the drawer, and here little Beethoven's arm is stuck in that drawer. And I could hear Tim say, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
These people need counseling.
I know, because they take on their personalities, and of course through the years as we developed the shows, they would have more of a backstory.
Well, I would think also, even subconsciously, your scripts or your improv, whatever, will have to go with that personality. I know I've watched enough sitcoms to recognize how individual these personalities, and this one would say this one, but this wouldn't say that one.
Oh, no.
And so watching Bobo, and I've seen him a couple of other times, he really had this very distinct personality that you would recognize pretty quickly if he stepped out of character.
Oh, yes. He was himself. He was travieso, which is mischievous, but he was always repentant. He would always get in trouble. And then at the end and he would pray, he would pray and put his hand over his eyes, because the puppet couldn't close his eyes, and he would say, oh, God. And this one lady wrote, and she said, my little 3-year-old now, every time he prays, he goes, oh, God.
Well, we're going to run out of time, but I want to put a couple other websites up. And you can tell us what they're for. One is a new church starting in Tampa?
Yes, in North Tampa. Our granddaughter, Jennifer, and in fact, she's on some of the videos as a very small child. She and her husband, Wesley Morris, are beginning Bay Chapel. And you can go to baychapel.com.
And then what's the other one?
The other one is called Light Sight, with a S-I-T-E, lightsight.tv. And that is Christy's new website. She and her friend Tiffany are beginning devotionals for families. They'll have a lot of the clips from the show and clips with Dan Betzer, and it's just really, really going to be fascinating.
And Christy has been on the program in the past, and what a talented girl. You know, maybe people are wondering now what kind of a true salvation experience you can have, you know, watching a puppet. did you get a lot of letters? Because with children's programming, you do not get offerings. This is why it's a good idea to give to your Christian television station, not just a specific ministry, because when you do children teen programs, they don't support themselves at all.
They don't.
So what have you heard from these countries as far as lives being changed?
When you do children's ministries, you do it as unto the Lord, because you do not get money
No.
back. You don't at all, but you're investing in those lives. And now we're in the second and third generation,
Right.
and so we see those lives change. There's a kid named Andres in Colombia, rebellious kid, a preacher's kid. And one of our friends, Carlos Luna, took a video to his church, and this kid, Andres, is just aggravated that he has to sit there and watch this children's video until it starts playing. And when he saw Bobo, his heart was softened.
Yeah.
And now he's in video production. Of course, he's an adult now, and just totally transformed.
Can't limit
his
God.
life.
We have
No.
just a few seconds left. I want to remind you again, if you're looking for a mate, this might help you. I don't guarantee it. But it's called Finding Your $1 Million Mate by a well-known pastor, Randy Pope. And so for any gift, or if you just ask for it, we'll send it to you, but we certainly do need your support and hope you'll send a offering along with it to Homekeepers, Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758. And I would like to say in closing, it's an honor to me to have Margaret register here, and her husband Joe is in the studio, and they're still working for the Lord. They're, quote, retired, but they're working with immigrants. They're also working with an English-speaking church. And it's just an honor to have people of God like that here, and to look back on one of the richest ministries I've ever seen. It's been a privilege. Please join me next time. No higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you would like a video copy of today's Homekeepers program for just $19.95, call 1-800-229-0059 for credit card orders, or send a gift of at least $19.95 to Homekeepers, P.O. Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758. Be sure to note the program number which appears on your screen.